Continuing to broadcast from Paliano, the High City on the plain of Fiora, this is Tap Tap Concede.
Guys, I'm so high right now.
So high in Paliano. Welcome everybody to Tap Tap Concede. Alex is here.
Hi.
And James is here.
Hi.
And I'm here. Hi. I'm Graham. And we're going to be doing part 2 of our conspiracy review this week. Alex wasn't here last time, but we went through all the conspiracies and
I don't know nothing.
and the draft and the draft matters cards. But you don't play draft as much, so we don't.
Not
need
as much,
to...
but this was definitely a format that is interesting to me.
Oh yeah,
because I mean I like Cube.
Mm-hmm. We'll definitely
So-
be drafting this.
Oh yeah.
All
So,
right.
but this week we're going to be looking at all the new conspiracy cards with the fancy conspiracy keywords, them being Dethrone and Parley and Will of the Council, and we will go into those
Boy.
momentarily. But first,
We must crack a
we're gonna
pack.
Crack a pack, and Alex, you want to grab the giant?
Don't roll one.
Yeah.
Don't stress me out like that. Trevor.
Last week we cracked Mercadian Masks, and to bring it back up to 20, we've reinserted a pack of
No.
Homelands.
I can't.
Don't
handle it.
roll one.
The whammy is returned.
11, thank God. It's double
Scared
ones.
the crap out of me.
All right. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, 11.
What do we got?
Scourge.
Scourge. I got to pull up my list. Where's
Ooh,
Scourge?
there's some good goblins in here.
Old school.
Is this
Scourge.
Onslaught?
No, it's Scourge.
No, the Onslaught block.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
so.
Onslaught, Legions, and Scourge. Scourge is all about building up to a big payoff. Storm cards repeat their effects for each spell played in a turn, while dragon-themed cards prove that bigger is better. Was seriously the motto for this?
Wow.
Size matters. It literally says size
matters.
Wow,
On
nice.
the back of the...
All right, good
Storm
job.
and Norman.
All right, let's do this.
All right. Hindering Touch. 3 and a blue. Instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. Storm.
Yeah.
So Storm,
Nope.
for those who are unaware, Storm is...
The most busted mechanic in Magic.
Pretty much. So Mark Rosewater, who's the lead designer for Magic, has a what is called the Storm Scale. And it's a scale from 1 to 10 based on how likely to unlikely it is for a given mechanic to reappear in Magic. And Storm is a 10, as in it is the least likely to ever reappear because it is so powerful and complex and busted.
That having been said, they have still printed 1 or 2 Storm cards in like goofball sets.
Yeah, and that's fine.
But like that's never going to come back in a core set. It's never going to come
No.
back in like an expansion.
no.
So
It's gone.
It's what it means is when you play this spell, I'll just read you the reminder text. When you play this spell, copy it for each spell played before it this turn. You may choose new targets for the copy. So this actually lets you counter stuff with Storm.
Yeah.
Because you can then say, I counter that, and then the copy counters that copy, and the copy counters that copy.
Well,
and
that's
copy
the
counters
that's
that
the
copy.
annoying thing about Storm is that when you play a card with Storm, all the copies go on the stack at the same time, so you can't just counter it.
No, you can counter one.
It's like you can counter one,
There's a
but the
bajillion
rest of those
copies.
copies are going to happen.
So,
Oh,
I
here's
don't know.
another Storm card.
Maybe that was pretty relevant. I don't know. Reaping the Graves. 2 and a black. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand with Storm.
Snore.
Yeah. That one's pretty boring. I like the
It's an
blue one
instant,
better.
though. You could do it at their EOT.
Yeah.
Recuperate. 3 and a black. Choose
Green,
one.
That's a white.
So that is a white card. I don't know why I said that. 3 and a white. Choose one. You gain 6 life or
Boo.
prevent the next 6 damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn.
Both are kind of boring.
So this was just reprinted as Hold It Bay.
Yeah. That just says...
Which is 1 in a white and is 7 damage.
Yeah. You don't have the life gain, though.
To you, right. It's damage prevention,
Yeah.
I guess. So that's pretty terrible. All right, Slivers.
Slivers were in this block.
Yeah.
Enchant land.
Uncontrolled Infestation. 1 in a red. Enchant only non-basic land. When enchanted land becomes tapped, destroy it.
No. I
It's
don't
not a great
I don't
LD
like-
spell.
Yeah, I don't like those kind of land destruction
It's pretty
spells.
bad. They're really slow.
Divergent Growth is a single green mana for an instant. Until end of turn, lands you control gain tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool.
So like one turn,
kind of-
turn everything into a city of brass.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting.
That doesn't hurt you.
That doesn't.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's kind of interesting.
Okay, so this guy
Oh.
is confusing to me because apparently he was a big deal for a while, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zombie Cutthroat.
uh-huh,
So he's 3 black for a 3/4.
which is terrible.
But that's it. But he has morph. So the way the morph cards worked is you could play any morph card face down as a 2/2 colorless creature for 3 mana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With no creature type.
Yeah, it's just a 2/2 colorless creature, and that's it. And then you could pay their morph cost
At any time.
at any time. It didn't go in the stack. It was
yeah.
a special action.
Yeah, it's the fastest thing in the game, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Morphing a creature.
We're pretty sure that revealing conspiracies is equally fast. We talked about that last time. And then they flip up, and there's a lot of cards that something happens when they flip up. Like when this creature is turned face up, do a thing, right? Or you just get to surprise someone. You're like, I swing with my 2/2, and they're like, all right, no blocks. And you're like, haha, it's actually Exalted Angel, and I gain a bunch of life.
Yeah.
This guy, he doesn't do anything special. He turns into a 3/4, but his morph is you pay 5 life.
Yeah. It's really,
So you can do it without using mana.
which is good.
So I know that there's a reason that this guy was good because I've heard people talk about him.
Yeah.
But I don't know the
I mean, it's
case file for why that was good.
Maybe
at the
he's
time.
fine in Sui Black. I wouldn't play him.
So Zombie Cutthroat, interesting. Interesting. He has a pretty high rating on Gatherer as far as I
Well,
recall.
he's
No,
way
he does
down
not.
low.
Oh, okay. Well then
No
I
dice.
guess I'm thinking of something else.
Maybe this guy's terrible.
No, I've heard people talk about him.
Okay.
It's because the morph cost doesn't use mana.
I guess, yeah.
usually free abilities are pretty good.
Yeah.
Accelerated Mutation. 3 green for an instant. Target creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is the highest converted mana cost among permanents you control.
No. This seems so bad.
It's not
So
a very
like
good
5
giant growth.
mana.
5 mana for
maybe
like
+4, maybe.
I mean, well, maybe you have an 8/8, so you get there, but it doesn't give trample, right? I mean,
yeah.
it just makes your guy bigger, and
So
if
you'd
he has
much
something
rather
to
have
chump with,
giant
it's just
growth
like,
any day. Of the
oh
week.
yeah, any day I'd rather giant
I do
growth.
like the flavor text, which is its food just got a lot smaller and its stomach a lot bigger.
Nice.
Rush of Knowledge.
This guy's having a bad
This
time.
guy's having a real bad day. 4 and a blue for a sorcery. Draw cards equal to the highest converted mana cost among
Was
permanents you
this
control.
like a theme?
I
in
guess.
this?
I guess it was.
All
I'd
right.
rather that than the green one.
Like that's still not very. Oh, Rock Jockey.
Oh yeah, the next card was Rock Jockey. But
he's-
Rush of
I'm
Knowledge
sorry.
though. I don't know.
Seems bad.
It's pretty bad.
Like
but
to get anything approaching value off that thing, you gotta get at least like 4 cards off that, right?
no, I
three-
think you'd be fine
three
with
is probably
3.
not so
I would
bad.
pay 4 or 5 mana for 3 cards, but it's situational, so
Yeah.
I mean, you could draw 6 cards off of this, but
Sure.
Rock Jockey.
this guy is atrocious.
So he's a goblin, and Alex loves goblins. So
I love goblins.
This guy must be real bad. He's a 3/3 for 2 and a red creature goblin. You can't play Rock Jockey if you've played a land this turn, so he can't ever play on turn 3. Basically, you can't play lands if you played Rock Jockey this turn.
Boo.
So basically, he and a land can never come into play on the same turn.
Yeah.
It's like
But all
if
goblin
he was
decks
a
want to
4/4
do is like
for that cost, that would
curve
actually
out,
be
right?
pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
he's
no.
not even the worst goblin. He's just kind of like, be better.
Aven Liberator,
Okay.
a 2/3 bird soldier for 2 white.
Okay. So it's fly.
And it has
Okay,
flying, and it has morph. So you play it face down for 3. So say you do that on turn 3, you get your 2/2 face down. Then in your next turn, you have 4 mana, and the morph cost is 3 and a white.
So almost the same as it's
It's the same CMC anyway. When Aven Liberator is turned face up, target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn.
That actually
That
seems
seems
pretty
interesting.
good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that could be relevant. It's
It
like
could be.
Yeah. It could win you the game.
Yeah.
Never know.
You could like just randomly surprise do that to eat something.
and also
it doesn't seem amazing. A 2/3
well-
flyer for 4 is actually like all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Riptide Survivor. It is a 2/1 wizard for 2 and a blue, and is a. I want to know what creature type they've now assigned to this guy, because right now he's just a wizard, but he looks like he's made of goop.
Could
Paul?
still be a wizard. Goop wizard.
Is he a goop wizard?
He's a human wizard.
No.
That is
What?
not.
That's
a human.
not. No.
I guess he's all morphed or
He's
something.
had better days. So he has morph, and his flip up cost is 1 blue. When he is turned face up, discard 2 cards from your hand, then draw 3 cards.
Oh,
That seems
weird.
good.
That does actually seem pretty good.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's the rummage mechanic.
It's a rummage mechanic where you're discarding before drawing, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I still like
I'll
that.
take that guy.
Hey!
Temple
Hey.
of nice.
Temple of the False God. Add 2 to your mana pool. Play this ability only if you control 5 or more lands.
Actually, pretty good. This is a commander card. I think foils of that are going for like $20 or something.
Wow, pretty sweet.
The card's actually perfectly decent in like control or any sort of like big stuff deck.
Yeah.
That card seems fine.
Yeah, it's good.
Daru War Chief is a 1/1 for 4. Is a 1/1 soldier for 2 white.
But wait.
But wait, there's more.
Soldier spells you play cost 1 colorless less.
Okay.
Okay, so that's good.
Sweet.
Soldiers you control get +1/+2. Okay, so he's
Seems-
actually a 2/3.
Yeah.
He's actually a 2 because he's a soldier. So
Yep.
he's actually a 2/3 for 4, which is not amazing. But he makes all your other soldiers cost less. That actually
And
seems
pumps them all as well.
So-
pretty okay.
this card
This
seems
guy is part of a cycle, and there's something really cool about them all.
The Aven Liberator is a bird soldier, by the way.
Sweet. Yeah, they did one of these in each color. Like I think a soldier, a beast, a zombie, and something
A
else.
goblin
Goblin. Yes, of course, goblin.
and a merfolk.
And they all do
probably.
basically the same thing. I don't remember what the blue one does. Probably merfolk. But they all pump a tribe, and they make spells of that creature type cost 1 less. And if you look at the artwork on all of them, they're all wearing a color-coded medallion,
Oh yeah.
which is I don't know if that
Oh yeah.
if that artifact is in this set, but it was a cycle.
The ruby medallion.
Yeah, they would
and the-
discount spells of that
Right,
cost.
right,
Huh.
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
if you
cool.
look at
Those were
check it out.
Those were most recently in. They haven't printed them in ages, but they were in Duels 2013 or 2014.
2013, I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting. And the rare.
Hey!
Ooh, we're going mono red, boys.
Nice.
Sulfuric Vortex.
Oh, this card's so good. Oh, and
And-
there's a foil.
Oh, and then there's a foil. Sulfuric Vortex, 1 red for an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Sulfuric Vortex deals 2 damage to that player. And remember this part, because I lost a game of Cube Magic Online because of the second ability of this card, because I just didn't read it. If a player would gain life, that player gains no life instead.
Yep.
I was convinced my Wall of Reverence was bugged.
Yep.
I was like, what the hell? And my opponent didn't realize either. I'm like, what the heck, Wall of Reverence? He's like, I don't get it. And I'm like, that's so weird. I don't understand. And then
Both of you were like,
So-
oh.
yeah, and then near the end of the game, I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah, this is one of these cards
Read
that
the cards.
looks like it should be bad,
Damn it.
but it's so good.
I really, really, really wanted to see a foil stifle there.
Aw.
So the foil, by the way, is a Dragon Scales. It is 1 and a white for a creature enchantment. Enchanted creature gets +1/+2 and Vigilance. When a creature with converted mana cost 6 or more comes into play, you may
Oh,
return
yeah.
Dragon Scales from your graveyard to play, enchanting that creature.
Yeah, this was another cycle in this set, I think, where they did one of each color where whenever, CMC creature, or is it power? Or CMC?
It's power. Oh, right. No, it's
It's
CMC, you're right.
CMC,
Yeah,
CMC
whenever it comes
saves.
into play, it'll just come from your graveyard into play. The red one might be the best one because it gives the creature haste.
Oh, filthy.
It's part of an old combo. I think it was the Hermit Druid combo because you dump your entire library in your bin and then you reanimate it like a stitched ghoul or whatever it's called, sutured ghoul,
Yeah.
and it just like eats everything in your bin, gains haste, and just slams for 1,000,000.
That sounds awesome.
Man,
It's pretty funny.
Straight up, these are my favorite kind of foils.
The old school ones?
The old school ones.
Where the art and text box is not actually foil, but the border is?
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
have the little shooting star.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, I love those.
So the trick with we went to Dragon Scales kind of quickly. So I guess just real quick, the trick about Sulfuric Vortex is just relying that you're going to be able to do more damage to them more quickly.
Yeah, it's good in an aggro deck because you basically are accelerating the game.
Yeah.
And an aggro deck wants to end the game as fast as possible.
So you're accelerating it for both of you, but that should work in your favor if you're in the right deck for it.
It also prevents your opponent from stabilizing through life gain.
Yeah.
So it's like you put that and they drop a Wormcoil, you're like, I don't care.
Yeah,
come at me.
coming right through.
I'm just gonna bolt you to the face.
So I'm probably taking Sulfuric Vortex out of this.
Yep.
Is that worth anything?
It's like $3.
No, I don't even know if it's worth that
Yeah.
much. We were
It's probably less because it got
Stifle
reprinted
is
so
where
many
we
times.
wanted to be. Stifle is the most expensive card in that set.
No. Well. Oh
Yeah,
well,
it did
we'll
just
just
get
have to play some.
reprinted.
Let's have to play some Vintage Masters. Actually, it's in conspiracy.
No, conspiracy.
Isn't it?
It's in
Yeah.
conspiracy. Yeah.
Speaking of conspiracy, so there are last week we talked about the conspiracies and the Draft Matters cards, but there's a bunch of new cards. There's a bunch of reprints in conspiracy, but there's a bunch of new cards with 3 new abilities, and we'll talk about them as we get to them. And we're just gonna, if you're following along on Gatherer, we're just gonna go through alphabetically and pause at each of the cards with one of the new mechanics. And the first one is a mechanic called Will of the Council.
This is pretty cool.
The first card is Bite of the Black Rose. So the way Will of the Council works is starting with you, each player votes for one of 2 options, and flavor-wise, the options that they give you are fantastic. So I'll just read this one. Bite of the Black Rose, 3 and a black, sorcery, Will of the Council. Starting with you, each player votes for sickness or psychosis. If sickness gets more votes, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. If psychosis gets more votes or the vote is tied, each opponent discards 2 cards.
So
either they all get
will they get infested?
but not your guys,
Ugh.
or they
all mind rot.
they all get
Okay,
Mine
so I play this card and I
Yeah.
vote. It starts with the casting.
starting with
Okay,
you.
so I cast it. I choose sickness. What are you guys going to choose?
Depends on what my board state is.
Yeah. Well, being
It's
as
just like
no
if I have
creatures-
if I have no creatures, I'll be like
Then you'll pretty
Yeah,
much
I'll be sickness.
you'll be sickness.
I think it's like, so the thing about the Will of the Council cards is, people are like, oh, you never want to give your opponents choices like that. I think you're always happy with the result of these things.
Well,
like
in conspiracy, absolutely.
yeah, that's
right.
what I mean.
mean,
Like, in conspiracy, you are like, you're never going to be bummed out by the result of one of these. Like, obviously, there's always going to be one that you would rather,
yeah.
but you're never going to be like, oh, like worst case scenario, maybe your opponents are like low on their hands.
Yeah, well, it's like-
they all pick the discard. They each discard 1 card. It's like, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
or maybe it
this
hits one
seems
creature, but why not?
in multiplayer like a crazy card advantage machine.
Oh, yeah,
because
this
it's
seems
like
gross.
if you mind rot everybody, that's like 6 for 1,
Yeah.
and it's like if you wrath their board, it's also maybe a 6 for 1.
Yep.
Yeah, this
That's probably not
Bite of
as
the Black
much
Rose
value
seems
as you would get,
really
but
sweet. And these are actually really great in one-on-one.
oh yeah,
Because the way it works
well you
is
get to stack the vote.
yeah, well, it's you can always get the second ability, right? So if you now this would be more expensive for a mind rot, but if it's you and I playing,
Mm-hmm.
and I pick sickness, and you pick sickness,
Mm-hmm.
then you've done what I want.
Yeah,
If I pick sickness and you pick psychosis, then you discard 2 cards.
yeah.
If I pick, which is I'm probably fine with. If I pick discard and you pick discard,
yeah,
then like it's in one-on-one you don't have a good option. I actually we were watching Kenji Newmont the Nummy stream, and there's the one coming up that the option is like they sack a creature or they take 4 damage, and it's really easy
Yeah.
to just it's easy to make them always take 4 damage. Like you can make this a mind rot every time guaranteed, or you can maybe try and make it the
like
infest.
the one you're talking about, Tyrant's Choice,
Yeah.
went right into my mono black list.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it earlier, but yeah, I'm excited about that card because you can make it always dome for 4, and then maybe every once in a while you mind game them into sacking a creature.
Yeah. I think all these the voting cards are super fun in conspiracy, and there's a card that it's just to mention it briefly, Brago's Representative. It doesn't have one of the keywords, but what Brago's Representative does is he gives you an extra vote. So you do the vote first, so you get to be like, I vote sickness.
It's like what?
Right?
What
and
you
then
gonna
it's-
do?
And then it's like, if you've already had 2 votes, it's a lot easier, or it's a lot more difficult for the other people at the table to keep you off that.
Yeah.
Because there's usually one other person for whom it's going to work better. The next one of these is a mythic.
Actually, I was just quickly wanted to the Boldweir Intimidator.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a keyword, but he does have cowards and warriors which is not something that shows up anywhere else. Or
Yeah,
Warriors
so he's
does,
a
but-
reprint from Future Sight, or I guess in Future Sight he was a reprint from Conspiracy.
Mm.
But yeah, the Boldware Intimidator is really cool. He just has this static ability that says cowards can't block warriors.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's just hey, by the way, cowards can't block warriors, so deal with it. And then he has 2 activated abilities that you can make a creature a coward and make a creature a warrior.
That's really cool.
So you can be like, I attack with this guy. By the way, he's a warrior and your only blocker is a coward, so what's up?
I didn't see that guy. That's really sweet.
Yeah. So he was originally from Future Sight. He's
That
he's
flavor,
super cool.
though.
I love him so much. So the next keyword ability card is Coercive Portal. This is a Will of the
Oh,
Council.
right,
It's an
this
artifact. It's a mythic. At the beginning of your upkeep, starting with you, each player votes for Carnage or Homage. I have not actually read this card. If Carnage gets more votes, sacrifice Coercive Portal and destroy all non-land permanents.
Boom.
If Homage gets more cards or the vote is tied, draw a card
Yeah, and that costs 4, right?
to cast, but this happens every turn.
Yeah,
Every
that
turn,
card.
yeah.
That card's bananas. Like compare it to like, what is it? The stick that pokes you. The 6-drop. Staff of Nin.
Yeah, Staff of Nin. So
I
basically,
mean, obviously you miss the ping ability, but like 4 mana for just
until you start taking over the board, you just get to draw an extra card every turn.
you get to draw. Well, I mean, in multiplayer, yeah,
That's what I mean.
yeah, it's just like.
How does this work one-on-one? It's
It
just like,
works. It works extremely well on
you
one-on-one
just-
because
you
it's
just
just
draw a card
4
every
mana,
turn.
draw a card every turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, that's nuts.
that seems really, really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I would even play that in like mono red.
Yeah, that's wow. Actually, that's in,
Yeah, that
in
card
one-on-one
is-
Magic. That's really strong. In Conspiracy, that seems fantastic
Yeah.
because no one's going to want to vote to have their whole board wiped, and presumably, if you're casting it, you're okay with that, with having everyone's board wiped.
Is it just your upkeep?
Yeah, beginning of your
Okay.
upkeep.
Yeah.
It was every upkeep.
That'd
That
be
would be
filthy.
Oh my god. No.
But I mean, eventually, it's going to get to a point where you have to want to get rid of it, so that you can actually start casting some of your own spells.
Yeah.
But that seems pretty sweet. Next up is another Will of the Council. This is the Council Guardian that showed up in the video. I love this guy. He is a 5/5 for 5 and a white, so he's a 6-mana 5/5. But Will of the Council. When Council Guardian enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for blue, black, red, or green. Council Guardian gains protection from each color with the most votes or tied for the most votes.
Yikes.
So
There's that politics coming into
this guy actually came down in both games when we were doing the video, and he got protection from 2 colors both times.
Jeez.
That seems because it's like if everybody tries to pick a different color, then you get like a 4-way tie, and he gets protection from 4 colors.
Yeah, and if you have a Brago's representative, which is in the same color as this, and you can just go like if there's 4 players and you go like red, then all 3 of the other people have to pick the same not red color for it not to at least gain protection from red.
Mm-hmm.
This guy seems really, really like quite strong,
Yeah.
especially in the sort of the table politics arena. I think he's
Yarp.
I think he's great. Council's Judgment is next. It is a sorcery. What's up, Paul?
Sorry, I was going to say, and of course, in Heads Up Magic, he just always gets protection from 2 colors.
Yeah, that's a good point. In one-on-one, you just say whatever color you want,
Yeah.
and then they'll say whatever other color.
Well, wait, can they not just vote the same color?
Yeah, but it's each color with the most votes or tied for the most votes. So head to head,
So
I say red, you say green. He's got protection from red and green.
But what if you said red and I said red?
Then he'd have protection from red. But presumably, because I get to name first, presumably I'm going to name whatever color is predominant in your deck. So he's going to have protection from at least half your spells.
Fair enough.
Seems good.
Yeah,
Unless the other person's playing white.
that's true.
Yeah.
That would be bad. Council's Judgment is a sorcery for 1 white. Will of the Council. This is a rare also. Will of the Council. Starting with you, each player votes for a non-land permanent you don't control.
I heard about this.
Exile each permanent with the most votes or tied for the most votes. I'm gonna have to parse that sentence again.
Um,
Starting with you, each player votes for a non-land permanent you don't control. So this is never gonna hurt you. Destroy each permanent with the most votes or tied for the most votes. So you could have.
Wait, is it destroyed? It's exile.
Yeah, sorry, it's exile. So you can have in a 4-player game, you could have 4 things that aren't yours gone if everyone picks different targets.
So Graham,
Yep.
Yeah.
you know that card doesn't target, right?
Oh my goodness, you're right.
It kills
Yeah.
True Name Nemesis.
Holy crap.
It doesn't just kill True Name Nemesis, it makes him go away for a long time.
Wow, yeah.
It exiles Thrun, it exiles anything.
And the best they could hope for is like, because you vote first, like I vote your True Name Nemesis. And all they can do is go, I also vote for my True Name Nemesis. Because what are they going to do? Pick a second target and
Yeah,
have them
it's-
both go away?
That card is bonkers in 1v1 because it's just like
Wow.
it's the super Vindicate
Yeah.
because it will blow up anything. It'll kill Progenitus.
I am super glad that you're here to give the 1v1
Pretty much.
the 1v1 perspective.
I mean, it's like
In-
it's a little different in 1v1 like but
Yeah.
a lot of these cards are like even better in one-on-one
Yeah.
games.
So, like in multiplayer, you're going to end up with. I think the majority of the situation in a 4-player game, I'm going to be like, James, that thing of yours, and you're going to be like, well, then that thing of his,
Yeah.
and then someone else is going to be like, well, then another thing, and then the last person is just like, well, I guess another thing of yours then, and you're almost always going to hit 4 things that you don't control. There.
Yep.
Just like 4-for-1 exile. effect.
Why not?
Why not? Just go bonkers.
Next up is another Will of the Council, Custody Squire. It's a 3/3 for 4 and a white for a
Squire?
Spirit Cleric with flying. So it's a 3/3 flyer for 5, which is pretty sweet right there.
Mm-hmm.
When Custody Squire enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for an artifact, creature, or enchantment card in your graveyard.
Okay.
Return each card with the most votes or tied for most votes to your hand.
Okay.
So you get to pick a card in your graveyard, but it has to be either an artifact or a creature or a land. And then like basically you're getting something back out of your graveyard.
So you
everyone
pick something
has to
and like
pick
your
something.
teammate picks something, right? Or is it
Well, no,
free-for-all?
because
It's free for all.
So it's
Right.
a 4-player
But
free
well,
for
I
all.
mean, so if you pick something and then the other 3 are like, no, let's just give them this,
yeah.
right? They can just do that.
So assuming that all 4 players are still in the game, you pick one thing, and the only options for the rest of the table are they all 3 pick
Separate.
a different thing,
Yeah.
and you get that,
Yeah.
or you are at least getting the
Yeah.
thing that you picked,
Yeah.
possibly more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they all pick different things, you get all 4. And if one of them picks the thing that you pick, and 2 of them pick a second thing, you get both of them. Yeah, if each of them picks,
If 2 people pick the same thing, you get. If 2 or 3 people pick the same thing, you're getting that. Doesn't matter what you voted for, right? If you play the card and you pick,
if I pick Sulfuric Vortex,
and then
Everybody
I
else
pick,
picks
and
Temple
then
of
we
the
all
False
pick
God.
Temple of the False God,
Like, it
you
can't
get
be-
Temple.
it can't
right?
be a land, but yes.
Okay, sure. Okay, or Rock Jockey.
Yeah.
But if I pick Divergent Growth and Paul and Alex pick Rock Jockey, you're getting Rock Jockey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But I mean, it's pretty hard to get screwed on this one because even at the end of it, you're getting something back from your graveyard, and presumably any artifact, creatures, or land that are in your graveyard you would want back because you put them in your deck.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of all that, you're getting a 3/3 flyer.
Yep.
Seems pretty all right.
Excuse me.
So this, I'm going to talk about Dax Duplicate, even though it doesn't technically have the keyword on it.
Oh yeah.
It kind of does. So there's one of the other keywords in Conspiracy is Dethrone, which is the card that punishes who's winning. So what Dethrone says is whenever this creature attacks the player with the most life or tied for the most life, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature.
So
And
it pumps before it hits.
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
that happens on declaration of attack,
Yeesh.
and it's a counter, so it stays there.
That's pretty good.
So what Dax Duplicate is, and I can see this just slamming into a lot of cubes, because this is a clone effect. So it's a 0/0 for 2 blue red. It's a shapeshifter. You may have Dax duplicate enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it gains haste and dethrone.
Oh, that's really good.
That's really good.
It's pretty good.
Because it's like that cool creature you have. I want one as well. Also, it's attacking you right now, and it's bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Because it gets that counter on declaration of attacks.
It's like that's like 4 mana for a clone effect is like, okay, that's a fair-ish price. But like that's
it's pretty good.
That's
even
gonna
just
come out of
haste.
nowhere.
I forgot that it gets Dethrone as well, which is just
Yeah.
like bleh.
So that seems really, really good. I like that there's a morbid sub-theme in Conspiracy, by the way.
Yarp.
There's a lot of morbid cards from Innistrad. I think there's some new ones.
Well, Morbid
Is this
seems
new?
Which one?
Yes.
Is Death Reap Ritual?
Yeah, I believe
don't
so.
know.
Let's talk about that real quick. So Morbid was a
Innistrad.
yeah, it was from Innistrad block, and it was if a creature died this turn, then do a thing different than before. Well, I mean, typically a Morbid card, you look at like Brimstone Volley,
Yeah,
it was 3 damage to target creature or player, but if a creature died this turn, it's 5 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
or like
so-
Tragic Slip is -1/-1, and then if a creature died, it's -13, -13.
Yeah.
So Death Reap Ritual is a new card with Morbid. It's an enchantment for 2 black-green. At the beginning of at the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, you may draw a card.
Seems pretty good.
That seems
Yep.
great. I like that a lot.
Seems quite good.
It's so good, in fact, that it is in Vintage Masters.
Oh yes,
Dag.
nice.
There's some conspiracy cards in Vintage Masters.
Yeah, because obviously Conspiracy, you can't program that for Magic Online because of all the draft stuff. So they're using Vintage Masters as a way to sort of get a bunch of Conspiracy cards into the Magic Online.
See, I was wondering why Tyrant's Choice was in Vintage Masters. I was
That's
like,
why.
that's
huh.
why.
because
Yeah.
they're all legal in Vintage.
Well,
Yeah. Next up, Enraged Revolutionary. This guy's really simple. He's probably the most basic card we've encountered so far. He is a 2/1 for 2 and a red with Dethrone.
yep.
That's it. He's a piker that's more expensive, but he has Dethrone. So if you attack with him against the person with the highest life total or tied for the highest life total, which is important, because if you got 2 people who are at 20, but one of them doesn't have blockers,
Yep.
then this guy is a 3/2, and then he's a 4/3, and then so
You really want to get evasion on one of those
he's not
guys.
he's not exciting.
Yeah,
he's not exciting, but he seems fine.
he's one of the least exciting ones for sure.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Next in the, so I think we're probably gonna have to do like a 3rd episode
Yeah.
on just the other cards for Conspiracy that don't have the keywords. But
Mhm.
for now, Grenzo's Cutthroat. Alex, you'll have to tell me what you think of this as the resident Goblin fan. He is a 1/1 for 1 and a red. He's a Goblin,
All right.
and he has First Strike, and he has Dethrone.
Okay.
So he's a 1/1 with First Strike for 2, but when he attacks, he becomes a 2/2 with First Strike.
I would definitely try that guy. Like,
and then
he gets way worse late in the game because the Goblins wants to, like...
Because presumably you're going to be ahead at some point.
Yeah. But, I don't know. It's like you stick that guy in turn 2. Well,
but he's
it's
always
tricky,
he's
though.
gaining a
right?
+1/+1 counter every turn,
Well,
isn't he?
Not necessarily, because
As
once
long
your
as you
opponent
keep
has less
attacking-
life...
Oh yeah, yeah.
As long as you keep attacking someone with the highest life total.
right.
But no, hang
So
on a second.
in-
How does
in-
that read? Is it player or opponent?
Player.
It's player.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're in the lead, these guys get significantly worse, right?
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the time you're just like going right to the face. So it's like,
So like in 1v1, he's like good early, but then
yeah.
ideally in a Goblin deck, this guy's actually getting pretty bad pretty fast.
Yeah, he gets bad in a big hurry. And by the time you draw him late game, it's like, well, this guy's...
What if he costs
Oh.
1?
I would probably play that. If he cost 1, like a 1/1 First Strike Goblin with Dethrone, I
Yeah.
would like slam him in.
Yeah,
He would
okay.
probably not be a common.
No, because like it's like even if he's bad late game, it's still just like, sure, it's a 1-drop Goblin. Love it.
Yeah. I guess since we talked about Brago's representative, we should briefly mention Grudge Keeper while we're going through the Gs. He is a 2/1 for 1 and a black, which is good. He's an aggressive black creature.
That piker though.
And he's a zombie, so that's relevant. Whenever players finish voting, each opponent who voted for a choice you didn't vote for loses 2 life.
Oh,
That's pretty
boy.
interesting.
That is just
Okay.
like an added salt on that little
It's
bit of
like,
politics.
fuck
Yeah.
you.
I really like that a lot. You could do some pretty interesting stuff with like a white-black voting deck. Next keyword card, scrolling through the visual spoiler here on Gatherer, is, oh yes, that was their special secret preview, Magister of Worth. Magister of Worth is really scary. 4/4 Angel for that casts for 4 white-black. Will of the Council. When Magister of Worth enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for Grace or Condemnation. If Grace gets more votes, each player returns each creature they control from their graveyard to the battlefield.
Dear God.
If Condemnation gets more votes or the vote is tied, destroy all creatures other than Magister of Worth.
Wow.
I like this card a lot. I want
It's
to play
really-
with this card.
it's
so
really,
bad.
really
It's
good.
like your options are garbage either way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
Well, I mean,
if
they're
you've
like,
got lots of dudes in your bin, I mean, it's basically just like what your board state's like and what your bin's.
yeah, I mean, that's going to be the
It's an
case for
interesting
most of these
choice
cards,
in a-
but
in-
If you have a way to stack this, like stack the vote either through cards or through politics in a way that you can just kill everything but you have a 4/4 flyer left over, that's pretty sweet.
or you just
Yeah.
like get everybody to go in on like returning everything, and you're just like,
And the game just turns
no,
into-
just like ability on the stack, exile all graveyards.
Oh,
Oh dear.
you couldn't you?
Yep.
yep.
Oh,
There's not a
filthy.
lot of cards that do that.
There might not be any in the set, but we could see. How's that play 1v1? You kill everything except
Yeah, you
the
blow up
4/4.
everything. It's
That
just
seems
like
great.
it's actually pretty bonkers. If
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's just like this 4/4 flyer. It's like Wrath, everything except this.
Deal with it.
Ugh.
All right.
Esper wants to play that.
Marchesa, the Black Rose.
Hi.
The sound, that sound you hear is 100 new commander decks being made with Marchesa in charge. Listen to this. She casts for 1 blue, black, red. So
Okay.
1 colorless.
Grixis.
Yeah, 1
Yep.
colorless and the full Grixis. She's a legendary creature, human wizard, and she's a 3/3, and she has Dethrone,
Yarp.
which, as
Okay.
we just mentioned, is really cool. Other creatures you control also have Dethrone.
Dear God.
I would be sold right there. That's a
Yeah.
sweet commander deck that you could just brew around.
But wait, there's more?
Listen to this. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies,
Uh-oh.
at the beginning of the next end step, return that card to the battlefield.
Yeah, this card actually scares me.
That's actually
for a
insane.
commander. It
That's
seems
actually
like
insane.
It seems actually kind of broken. Like I don't want to play against this as a commander.
There's so many like vampires or sliths,
Yeah.
or just like creatures that get their own +1/+1 counters anyway, and then you're giving it Dethrone as well.
Yeah.
And there's always someone in a game of Commander that has like way more life than everybody else.
Ugh.
Yeah. No,
It's
this
just filthy.
this card seems
Oh,
terrifying.
Yeah.
Just like, hi, my commander is giant target on my forehead.
Yeah.
What's up, Paul?
So if she has a +1/+1 counter because she dethroned somebody,
Yeah.
does she return herself to
Does it
the
say
battlefield?
other creatures?
No, it just has whenever a creature.
What? So
she
she
just
does
comes-
return herself.
Oh wow! So you don't have to pay
Because the
her-
ability goes on the stack.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
honey.
even more broken.
Honey.
You don't have to repay to
You don't have to do her like commander
watch us be.
interest.
This is just
slam
banned
it.
in
It's like,
commander.
kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it,
Yeah.
kill it, kill it.
Oh wow, that's really good. Ooh, what about her emissary? Marchesa's got some friends, and they all have Dethrone. Marchesa's emissary is a 2/2 for 3 and a blue, and this human rogue has hexproof and Dethrone.
It's not bad.
Not
Doesn't
bad,
have
yeah.
evasion, but
Yeah, if it had evasion, it would be crazy
well, it's like
broken.
any,
but
any sort of dethrone creature that has evasion would be scary as hell.
yeah.
So the emissary seems good. What about Marchesa's infiltrator? 2 and a blue for a 1/1 human rogue with Dethrone, and whenever infiltrator deals combat damage to a player, draw a card.
Oh, it's a sweet Ophidian.
Yeah. So
Seems
it's
real good.
it's a 1/1 for 3, which is but then when you attack it becomes a 2/2, and they want to block that if they can.
Yarp.
And then the other one, Marchesa's Smuggler, is a 1/1 for a single blue and a single red. So blue red, 2 mana for a 1/1 with Dethrone, and has an activated ability for 1 blue red. Target creature you control gains haste until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn.
Ah. Okay, that seems pretty good.
So if you have the mana, you can just cast creatures and just give them haste and get them through,
Psych it
or you can
in.
use that on him. That seems pretty excellent. I like these guys.
That's the evasion I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see why they costed it like that, because otherwise...
You have to. It'd be so expensive, or it'd be so busted otherwise. I'm just checking through here for other... there's a lot of cards I recognize that are...
There's a lot of very
cards.
Very recent, too.
Yeah.
Within the last couple of years that have been reprinted in this set.
Here we are. So this one came up in the video. I love this one so much. Plea for Power. It is a sorcery for 3 and a blue. Will of the Council. Starting with you, each player votes for time or knowledge. If time gets more votes, take an extra turn after this one. If knowledge gets more votes or the vote is tied, draw 3 cards.
Yeah, this card is
Time
bonkers.
Walk or Ancestral?
Time
Yeah,
Walk or
Pick
Ancestral.
one.
So we were talking earlier
Don't
about
even care.
Rush for Knowledge here. Right?
Yep.
In this Scourge pack. And we were like, well, okay, for 4 and a blue, like I'd have to be drawing 3 cards to even think about playing that. 1v1, this is draw 3 cards for 3 and a blue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is draw 3 cards for 4 in 1v1.
yeah, that's real good. It's like...
How does that compare to other cards that are playable in those formats?
Well, okay, like I would compare to something like Jace's Ingenuity, which is 5 for draw 3, but it's an instant. Or, I mean, most of the cards that are like draw 3 have a caveat to them. Like, there's Thirst for Knowledge, and...
That's when you draw 3, but then you have to discard 2 unless you discard a land?
no, it's an artifact.
Oh,
And then
right,
there's
artifact.
there's another one that's the same. It's like... careful study,
research?
compulsive research. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one that's draw 3 and discard 2 unless you discard a land. So usually you're only up 1 card.
Right.
Actually, this is like just slightly better than Harmonize, and whatever the card Harmonize was based on.
Right, because Harmonize is green.
Yeah, it's a time shifted version of a card whose name I don't know, because it's 2 green, draw 3 cards.
Right.
Sorcery. So this is better.
Because it doesn't have it's not 2 blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in multiplayer, like, honestly, maybe getting to take an extra turn is actually not going to be that crazy.
It's probably
busted.
not as crazy. I mean, again, a lot of these cards are always going to, especially the voting cards, are always going to depend on, the state of the game and where everybody's at.
Well, it's like sometimes Time Walk is just explore.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, if you're,
Which is to say,
if you're,
you get to draw an extra card and make an
if
extra
you're,
land drop.
if it's late in the game, everything's sort of stalled out, and you're playing this card as the last card from your hand, I think everybody's going to give you an extra turn.
Probably.
Because you're only drawing 1 card there, right?
Yeah.
If we give you 3 cards, that's setting up your next turn, which isn't too far away, and if we can't kill you, probably not worth it. So enjoy your extra turn.
I wonder if you're going to be in a situation where you swing out and then play this second main, so it's like it's worse for your opponents, because if they give you another turn, then you get to untap.
Yeah.
And then your shields aren't down. I don't know. Sorry.
Sorry, just quickly, Concentrate.
Oh, Concentrate.
Ah,
is
right, that's
2
one.
blue and 2 colorless, draw 3 cards.
Okay, sweet.
Right. All right, moving
So
on.
better than that.
I like this card, though.
I like that card a lot.
Yeah, the card's sweet.
Bum, 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 bum. A lot of pretty sweet looking cards in here.
Mm-hmm.
This is our first Parley card. I think
There aren't that many, are
No,
there?
there's not that many.
Yeah.
So Parley, which is spelled parlay, but apparently pronounced Parley, and this came up after the Limited Resources podcast. People were harassing them on Twitter. Rousing of Souls. I'll read this and we'll talk about what Parley does. It is 2 and a white for a sorcery with Parley, which says, in this case, each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, you put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield, and then each player draws a card. So the way that Parley works is everybody reveals the top card of their library, and typically it's for every non-land card revealed, a thing happens that benefits you, and then everyone draws that card.
Yeah.
Now it says everyone draws a card. It actually mentions on Gatherer that unless a very, very weird and specific set of circumstances comes up, the card you reveal is going to be the card that you draw. But
yeah, it's like unless you have a way to affect what your top card is with the draw trigger on this deck, you're gonna draw that card.
Just don't worry about that right now. You reveal a top card, and then you all get to draw the card. So everyone gets to sort of benefit from this because the definition of parley is when you're having a chat with your enemies under the under the terms of a truce. So everyone gets some sort of information, but you get more of an advantage. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because as we saw in the video, Kenji cast Rousing of Souls and completely bricked because all 4 players turned up land. That was just really funny. Honestly, though, this card seems pretty sweet. I mean, if you get 2. Like if you get 2 1/1 spirits, that's
pretty good.
That seems fine for 3.
Oh, so this cantrips you as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you're drawing a card.
If you get 3, that's even better. If you can get 4 off this, you're you're fine that everyone got to draw a card.
Gold, yeah. All right, what's next?
Next is Scourge of the Throne. This is the big scary mythic dragon. You got to have that big dragon. 4 red for a 5/5 flyer. That's pretty well on curve for the big scary
standard,
dragon.
Yeah.
With Dethrone.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Here's the evasion.
Dethrone with evasion on a 5/5 body to start with. Whenever Scourge of the Throne attacks for the first time each turn,
Oh, no.
if it's attacking the player with the most life or tied for the most life,
Oh, no.
untap all attacking creatures. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase.
No.
And it can attack again, right?
No.
But
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't. That doesn't.
No,
So
no.
you can
this is-
attack whoever has the highest life on the first time, and then attack someone else on the second time because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Because it doesn't. Yeah. Ugh, that's disgusting.
pretty good.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
card's ridiculous.
That's I mean, there's the big scary dragon. There's always a big splashy dragon in every set, and sometimes he's a windmill slam, and sometimes he's there because people like dragons and they put him in the set, and he's not actually that great.
I think this guy's a windmill.
This guy's a
This
windmill
guy's
slam.
awesome. Yeah.
It's like, get it in my
Absolutely.
deck.
Speaking of windmill slams, Selvala, Explorer Returned. She's going in a commander deck of mine. She's a 2/4 for 1 green white. So a 2/4 for 3. That's
Pretty
great
good, yeah.
right there. And she's in the Selesnya colors. And she has Parley. And now her Parley ability is tap activated. So you can't do it the first turn. But on subsequent turns, tap. Each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, add green to your mana pool. And you gain 1 life.
Huh.
That's interesting.
So you get this like weird, unpredictable ramp.
Yeah.
But you don't have to invest anything to get it.
Yeah, so you tap, and as little as 0 and as much as 4 mana and gain 4 life.
Yeah. Seems pretty
Seems
good.
Pretty good.
Awesome. I mean, that's what let BDM get into like Palaka Worm and Elvish Aberration on turn 5.
Yeah. That's
It was
sweet.
pretty gross. And Selvala has a couple cards with Parley. Selvala's Charge, with her team of Heffalumps there. 4 and a green for a sorcery with Parley. Each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, you get a 3/3 elephant token.
Yeah, that
and then
seems
each player
good.
draws that card. For 5 mana?
Yeah. I'd rather this than the spirit one.
It's like
Seems pretty good.
like if you get 1, that's actually kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But if you get 2, that's already undercosted.
Yep.
And if you
If
get
you get
3,
4, it's
that's
just
really
like,
good. If
well,
you get 4,
shit.
you're just like, well, hey,
I win.
I got 4 3/3s for 5 mana.
Yeah.
I got 12 power and toughness.
And I
Why
drew a-
can't I
and
hold
I
all
drew a
these
card.
elephants?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wow, that's really, really good. Selvala's Enforcer is a 2/2 elf warrior for 3 and a green. With Parley, when Selvala's Enforcer enters the battlefield, each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, put a +1/+1 counter on Selvala's Enforcer. Then each player draws a card. So
It's not bad.
I guess bottom end, obviously, it's a 2/2 for 4 and you draw a card. And that's pretty unfortunate. A 3/3 for 4 and you draw a card, that's probably fine.
That's fine. Yeah, I'll play that. A 4/4 for 4
A
and you-
4/4, a 5/5, or a 6/6.
and draw,
Yeah.
draw a card. Yes.
Very good with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I think you could have a lot of fun with a green deck with some of these cards. Selvala's Charge just seems crazy.
Cray.
Super cray. Is that all the Parley cards? I think it might be. There's one more, says Paul. Split Decision is our next keyword card, which is another Will of the Council. This is pretty interesting. 1 and a blue for an instant.
Right.
Will of the Council. Choose target instant or sorcery. Starting with you, each player votes for denial or duplication. If denial gets more votes, counter that spell. If duplication gets more votes or the vote is tied, copy the spell. You may choose new targets for the copy.
It's interesting.
So basically,
It seems pretty good in multiplayer. It's like it's one of those weird ones though, right?
So multiplayer, I think is where it like really shines.
Yeah,
'cause
I
you
think
can be
this
like,
is pretty bad in 1v1.
That's when you use it for like, guys, none of us want this to resolve.
Yeah, so let's get rid of that.
So let's all agree to counter that spell. Or you might end up in a situation where
It's like, no more of this, please.
yeah. So
Yes,
I mean, like
wrath me harder.
1v1, because we were talking about people putting these cards in their cubes. 1v1, you're always going to duplicate a spell.
Which is bad. I mean, it's just...
not for 2 mana. Like there's already like
it's
redirect.
slightly
and-
better than redirect.
Yeah.
Or no, wait, that one... Does that
Well, no,
one
because that one
copy?
casts for blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
doesn't
no,
it?
it's the same as a fork or... What's it called?
Doesn't fork your... No.
I think it's any spell.
reverberate. But
Yeah, reverberate is any spell.
red. That's red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always been double colored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always a double colored spell. So it's like in that sense, maybe that's not so bad.
Yeah. But definitely good in multiplayer. I can see this doing some good work in games of conspiracy. The free for all. I can see this actually doing pretty. I can see this being pretty busted in Commander as well. But
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe one in a blue for a fork isn't actually that bad.
actually, you know what? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
It
I
could
don't
be
know.
the thing that makes that card playable.
Maybe.
It doesn't have to be yours.
Yeah.
Sweet art. That guy's having a bad day.
Is that a rare?
No, that is an uncommon.
Dang. Oops.
Getting past all these very, very good cards here. Treasonous Ogre
How dare you?
is this is an interesting card. I'd like to know what you guys think about this. He's a 2/3 for 3 and a red. So he's 2/3 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
He has Dethrone.
Okay.
And he has pay 3 life, add red to your mana pool.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Isn't that
is
strange?
weird.
That's super out of flavor with red.
Right?
Like paying life.
Pay 3 life to add a single red to your mana pool.
Like that's
Why do you need that?
that seems bad in multiplayer, but what worries me about it is that like that might be some sort of like combo thing because getting mana for free
Yeah.
is generally very good.
The card's legal in Vintage,
so it's like I don't know, you maybe like cheat this guy into play, you can get what, like 7 mana? How much?
if you just pay like your whole life.
yeah, just pay
Yeah.
your entire life total for how much?
No, you wouldn't be able to do 7
3,
because that's
6,
dead. You'd be able to
9.
do 6.
12,
That's still 6 mana for
15.
free.
18, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you basically that's 6 mana that you want to be using to win the game,
Yeah.
right?
So what does he what does he cost to cast?
4. He costs 3 and a red.
Presumably, when you get this guy out, you've probably already taken a couple hits, so you're probably not getting 6. But
I don't know.
I think it's interesting.
Like in multiplayer, just the 2/3 for 4 with Dethrone is probably actually just fine.
Yeah,
Like he's
Yeah,
he's probably a perfectly acceptable creature that you would run.
and maybe you're in a position where you are 2 mana off a burn spell that's going to kill somebody, and you can afford it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you would just maybe use him to like super harsh, aggressively ramp into some.
But yeah, like you say,
nuts stuff.
especially in the free for all multiplayer, paying that much
That's
life,
bad.
that
Yeah,
seems
it's-
really
and-
risky.
Pretty
Conspiracy
risky, yeah.
is 20 life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems not very good.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on real quick is that because people were asking about sort of general multiplayer stuff. This is very different from Commander because the life totals are lower. They're 20 instead of 40, and the power level is a lot lower too. Like you're not going to get these like 5-hour board stalling. I play a guy, well I kill it. All right, I play 3 guys, I wrath, I do this, yeah, I counter it. You're not going to get games like there's wraths and counters and kill spells and stuff in here. But you're not going to get those games where just everyone always has an answer for everybody else's thing. Like you have a 40 card draft deck
Yarp.
and 20 life, and it's very different from a game of Commander.
Whew.
Getting to the end here. Tyrant's Choice is the one you talked about earlier.
Said it before. I'll say it again. This card is super sweet.
Yeah,
And
1 and a black for a sorcery. Starting with you, each player votes for death or torture. If death gets more votes, each opponent
Each opponent.
sacrifices a creature.
Yup.
If torture gets more votes or the vote is tied, each opponent loses 4 life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 1v1, it's
Wham.
It's always
Don't
just
face you for
it's just
4.
face
There's
you for
nothing
4.
you can do
4
about
for
it.
2 mana in black.
It's also life loss, so
yeah.
it's really
No,
good.
it's really good.
And in multiplayer, I don't think you're ever upset. Because we were just talking, right? 4 damage out of 20 life is a huge chunk in a free-for-all multiplayer game. And so
Yep.
it's like your
Also
opponents
just
lose
like-
a creature, that's probably sweet. They lose 4 life, that's also sweet.
Yeah, Graham, like compare this card to Flame Rift, which is 1 and a red. Each player takes 4 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so much better.
This is, and in black, I mean, especially in like a black aggro deck, like the sort of thing you're running, but in black, that's not the sort of thing that you get. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get
No,
effects
you
like...
never get something like
just-
that.
just
This
dome you
card,
for
I think,
4.
is actually just permanently replacing Karavik Spike because it's just better in every possible way.
Yep.
in your mono black.
Yeah, I mean, I
highlighted
might
deck.
play Karavik Spike just because YOLO, but that card's really bad.
Yeah.
Even I know that.
All right, where are we at?
We might be. That might be it for the. No, we have one more card with Parley, and then that will be it for this episode. We have the.
Well, we should talk. Let's talk about the one other big splashy card.
Oh yeah. So Woodvine Elemental is a 4/4 that casts for 4 green white, so 4 and a Selesnya, and he's got Trample. He's a 4/4 with Trample for 6.
Good start.
That's fine. That's not astounding, but that's fine. Parley, when Woodvine Elemental attacks.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, that's interesting. Whenever it attacks, each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, attacking creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn.
Yeah, this seems.
And this guy's got Trample.
Yeah, this guy seems really good.
Now, if he just pumped himself, that would be pretty good.
Yeah.
But he pumps your whole team.
Yeah, and you're in green-white, i.e. the colors
token
that make
colors.
tokens
Yeah.
in this deck. If you got like the Selvalla's Charge or the Rousing of Souls, and you've been parleying your way into getting
like,
a whole bunch of
"Oof, that
tokens,
is."
Yeah, no.
and you just get the non-trample overrun, that's still really scary.
Gross.
Yeah, this
Oh,
guy seems
man.
real good.
Yeah, I would take that guy.
The
pretty
Nutter
highly, I
Butter.
think.
Yeah.
That's a first pick.
All right. Let's close
And
it off
then,
with.
so I assume you're talking about
I'm talking about
the greatest thief in the multiverse,
Our friend, our friend Dak Faden.
Dak Faden. So when they knew that this,
Mumble, red right hand.
yeah, when they knew that the cards from Conspiracy would only be legal in Vintage and Legacy,
I don't. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they knew that they could push the power level a little bit, and I think they definitely did for Dak.
This
So
guy's really good.
Dak Faden is a 3 loyalty planeswalker for 3 mana, and that's already just sweet.
Already
like
insane.
a 3 mana planeswalker is almost always a good idea. So 1 blue and red, and he has a +1, so he comes down for 3 and goes to 4 loyalty right away. Target player draws 2 cards and then discards 2 cards.
Target player.
Target player.
So,
Anyone.
as you saw in the video, you can use it to mill your opponent out if they're running low on cards. But at its, quote, worst, I guess, maybe,
Yeah.
you are double looting. You're getting to draw 2 cards, and then you discard 2 cards. Boy, are you ever filtering through your deck at that speed.
Yo, yeah. Absolutely.
Like, that is super sweet. But because he's the greatest thief in the multiverse, you can -2 him to gain control of target artifact.
There's no relevant artifacts in Vintage, is there?
Oh, I don't know. It was a Batterskull,
Moxes.
Jite. Like,
There's kind of a lot.
really,
Vedelkin Shackle.
Yeah.
like we were joking at the time. It's like, really, that says like gain control of target Batterskull or Jite, right? It's like take control
Or
of
Worm
whatever.
Coil.
Worm coil engine.
Yeah.
It's great. It's just gain control. It's just that
That's
mine.
That mine now.
I want
Yeah.
that.
That mine.
And I
Do
mean,
that.
you could do that the minute you play Dak if you wanted to,
If you
right?
want to just, like,
and he's
honestly,
still alive.
And he's still alive, and you have something. If you're stealing something like a worm coil, you're protecting him pretty well.
Yeah. Like, what a great, flavorful, and really powerful mechanic. Just like,
even if you lose him, like even if you don't protect him and you lose him right away, 3 mana to just be like, that's mine for the rest of the game.
It's pretty
See,
good.
I love how this goes. He's just like rummaging through all your stuff.
Yeah.
And then he finds something he likes and keeps it.
And then
And
Finally,
then what does he
his
do?
ultimate is -6. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell that targets 1 or more permanents, gain control of those permanents.
It's
Again,
just like, I'm going
not
to steal
till
everything forever.
not till end of turn. You just gain
Get it.
control.
yeah,
That's, I mean,
this guy's so awesome.
it turns your removal spells into removal plus, because it's not just that you're removing them from their side, you're
You
getting
get
it on
them,
your side.
yeah.
I got bolted so hard I forgot what team I was on.
So what? That doesn't make the spell fizzle, though, does it? Or does it?
I don't think it does.
If you cast like a Doomblade on something,
And you
it still
It
dies.
still
You
dies,
can control
but
it,
you-
but then it
you-
dies.
Yeah, so you
So
don't
you have to
you
use,
don't
like pump spells or
yeah.
Well, Graham, think
Yeah.
about. Oh no, wait. Yeah. Well, it's like red and blue. You're gonna have burn spells and like bounce or maybe.
Well, I mean,
tap
if you have burn
spells.
spells that don't kill it, right? I mean, if you have a bolt and you want his, 5/5 whatever,
Yeah,
bolt
bolt.
it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like bolt shock, lava dart kind
Yeah.
of thing.
You know,
Just like
it takes a little bit of damage, but
I mean, if
it's still yours.
If the choice is like either it dies or I get it,
yeah, it's
you're pretty happy with that either way.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Dak is
That's pretty sweet.
pretty fantastic.
That
art.
Faden.
They were definitely waiting to put him on a card. Everyone thought he would be in Ravnica because of all the images of him on Ravnica. He's actually in a couple cards in Ravnica block.
I hope he's like they just scatter him throughout the multiverse for the rest of time.
He just
Every
shows
once
up
in a while, he
wherever.
just shows up and is like,
Sup,
"Hey,
yoink."
that dude's stealing something."
those have like spells like Dax Yoink or something. It's like one blue red gain control of target permanent.
Deal with it.
Just end of card.
What's up, Paul?
Saying he is also in Vintage Masters, by the way.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
also
yeah.
in Vintage Masters.
Yeah,
That's
to
true.
get him
Of
online.
course he is.
The I would like to see him just show up in like one card per set,
Yeah.
just in the background.
It's like
Speaking of which, you won't be able to see it on the video if we put it up, but on the art for the new art for Unquestioned Authority.
Yeah, put it up, but yeah, you won't be able to see it. You could. Do you know what we're looking for here, Paul? Okay,
you might need
Graham
to
will
check
explain it.
magiccards.info.
You go to Unquestioned Authority. They did new art for the card for Conspiracy. I don't recall what it was originally printed in, like Judgment, I think. Anyway, way in the background is
On the stairs.
On the stairs, I'll show you, Alex. Up
It's
front,
on-
is our good buddy Fibblethip from
Yeah.
from the card.
Oh, there we go.
Totally
He's
Lost.
blown it up.
Oh, there
Can
we
you
go.
see it now?
Where is he on the stairs?
Here, I'll show you. Hang on.
This is gonna be just like the little
There he is.
Yeah,
fantastic.
just hanging out. I expect him to be in cards for the rest of
I
eternity
really
as
hope
well.
he
I
is.
hope so.
He's just trying to
popping
find his
up.
way home. That poor thing.
How he's planeswalking, I don't know, nor do I
He
care.
just becomes a planeswalker. He becomes like the first one-drop planeswalker, and he doesn't.
Is that
do
also
anything.
him on Provoke?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so.
Really?
Yeah,
It's right there.
Yeah.
That's Fibblethip.
yeah.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
see.
I mean-
Wait, where?
Back.
Sorry.
What do we got? I say less than 5 years before he's a playable planeswalker.
I would really love him as like a one-drop that does almost nothing, but is like really cute.
One drop, rare planeswalker.
Yeah.
We're pushing the boundaries here on
He
Tap
comes
Tap
down with like
Concede.
one loyalty. He's got like a +1 and a -1, or like a 0.
Yeah.
and like a -3, and they don't do anything.
I don't know. It's just like. Tap.
Oh, you know where he fits in as a one drop planeswalker
Where?
if they ever do a third unset.
Oh, of course.
Oh my god!
Yup.
If they don't do that,
Oh, of course.
holy!
Fibblethip returns.
Actually, if he was in an unset, he would just be like -1 shuffle Fibblethip into your opponent's library.
just make their draws worse.
Just do it.
Yeah,
There's, there was actually on Mark Rosewater's Tumblr, somebody, because how it's supposed to work is the Planeswalker spark is ignited by some great trauma.
Right.
Like getting lost. In
Like,
the city.
and so somebody asks, is getting lost enough trauma to?
I think eventually it will be. He just
Yeah.
he just hits a dead end and tilts so hard that he becomes a
a
planeswalker.
And
So
Mark Rosewater was like, I don't know, maybe.
oh Jesus! Of course he
of
said
course,
that.
Rosewater
Yeah.
said that.
That's funny.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna start making some Fibblethip planeswalker cards.
Yeah. So I think I think there's more to talk about with
I,
conspiracy.
you know what I want to do with conspiracy
What's
is play it.
No kidding.
Because I haven't yet.
Yeah.
I would really like, especially after we've recorded both of last week's podcast and this week's 2 days in a row, and now I really want to play.
Yeah. As a reminder, we'll be live streaming.
We will be live streaming.
On-
I'm hoping that's not the first time I play it, but
June-
probably June 22nd or
22nd.
June 29th. It's going to really depend on when we can get everybody together. But yeah, twitch.tv/LoadingReadyRun. Make sure to follow. LRRMTG on Twitter. We will keep you up to date on when that's going to happen. But that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a live draft, and then we'll follow each game. We won't play them together.
Yeah, we'll one and then
we'll play the one and the other. So it'll be
All
fun.
right. Thank you guys for listening, and look forward to talking to you again about more cards next time.
Huzzah!
Enjoy your conspiratorialing. That's not a word.
No, it is not.
We'll go with it. Conspiring. Happy conspiration.
Happy con.
Jolly conspiration. Goodbye.